You told me to do this, and the most interesting thing I could think of was a story I heard from a famous rabbi named Avram Tversky, who has written several books. Tversky.
You know Tversky.
A lot of people have these books, and he once came to the court of the Bubblever Rebbe, where I was visiting in Brooklyn, and we ended up talking in Yiddish for a long time, and he told me this story to illustrate a different point about how the secular social sciences can help interpreting the Torah. But it was about the 10 plagues, and it was so interesting I thought I should share it. There are a lot of different explanations that people have given over the years about why God would harden Pharaoh's heart. There's so many different, there's Kabbalistic explanations, there's explanations, and none of them really make a whole lot of sense. Like, at the end of the day, this guy is still, God is making him kill his sons, and the sons of all his countrymen. And couldn't God have opened his heart just at the last second in the middle of the darkness and let him leave? And Tversky said that no, and we couldn't really understand that in a simple way until about 50 years ago with the study of addiction. And he told me that Pharaoh shows these classic signs of addiction, that he cannot live without having these power over these people, that he was born into it and he's become so used to it that any attempt to break him of the habit would simply make him enslave another group of people, or the same group of people again, as we see you try to chase after them after. So what do we know about getting an addict off of his addiction? And part of it is the concept of rock bottom. And he told me that this concept fits perfectly, unlike any other real explanation, with the story of the plagues. I mean, if you think about it, if you were the king of Egypt, and they said, let go of these Jews, and you said no, and their leader stabbed the sea and it turned to blood, you would probably rethink your position. And it didn't even cross his mind. The Nile turned to blood, and he said, no, I'm going to keep them. And then frogs started reproducing out of thin air and infecting people with horrible diseases. He said, no, I'm going to... And then at around, I think it was the 4th plague, God hardens his heart. He says, I'm going to let them go. I'm going to get off the stuff. And God makes it so that he won't. And this is because, as Tversky told me, he had not hit rock bottom yet. If he would have let them go, it would not have been complete. That he didn't harden Pharaoh's heart for the Jews. The Jews were going to get out anyway. This whole thing happened in a matter of a year. The Jews only had to wait a little bit. And in the meantime, the plagues were great for the Jews. All the cattle died except those of the Jews. They made huge amounts of money. In fact, the Egyptians gave them all their gold when they left. So he did it not for the Jews. The Jews were already fine. He did it for Pharaoh. God hardens Pharaoh's heart for Pharaoh's sake, so that he could finally see the ultimate consequences of his addictive behavior. And the only real culmination of that had to be his son needed to die. And this for 2,000 years would seem absurd. That why would somebody need such harsh punishment? Why would to feel kindness? The explanation of it that God was being kind, but how? That's absurd. That's not kind. But now we see through the lens of psychology and the lens of modern science that in fact it is a kindness. That to allow Pharaoh so swiftly to go from complete depravity to suddenly realizing the true nature of his actions and changing his ways by truly letting the Jews free, that this is a kindness. And that's what he taught me about the significance of the 10 plagues.
Sounds like a doctor.
Yeah, sure.